Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goblin Views. I am the titular goblin, and today I am accompanied by the one, the only Akasha. How are you?
Hello, friends.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's good. Today we're brought here to review another movie. Specifically, the sequel to the 2012 smash hit Amazing Spider-Man 2. Directed yet again by Mark Webb.
Feature. Three movies to review.
that movie when you 3-2 movie review. Yeah.
Yep.
No. But who we got as the cast before we got Andrew Garfield, we got
Maguire.
we got Andrew Garfield, we got Emma Stone, we've got Jamie Foxx and Dane Dehaan as new entries. Well, you're not Jamie Foxx, but I mean Jamie Foxx is whatever. We'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I guess let's just do some non-spoiler talk. What were your thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man 2? What were your thoughts coming into it?
My thoughts going into it were that it was going to be far worse than it is, but also I was not expecting that the low points of this movie were going to be so fucking low.
Like, you thought it was going to be, I don't know, you thought the movie was going to be better in some aspects, but
I thought it was going to be, like, pretty boring straight through, just like...
okay, yeah.
I thought but it's like the high points are really high, the low points are really fucking low.
Yeah. I don't know, I guess for me, I have seen this movie. I saw it in theaters when it came out.
God save your soul.
But I remembered it, obviously, and I just remembered it being bad, but I thought that this movie was the worst Spider-Man movie. And in all honesty, coming out of this view, I don't think this is the worst Spider-Man movie anymore. Honestly. So I think it's honestly Amazing Spider-Man 1. And the reason for that is just because it's so fucking boring.
Yeah. Oh, hey Rose, what's up?
Hey Rose, welcome to the review. I hope you're doing good.
We just do be reviewing Spider-Man 2.
Again.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But any other non-spoiler? I guess what were some things you didn't like? Some things you did like, non-spoiler wise.
So one of the reasons that I'm kind of puzzled why the consensus is that people say this is the very worst one is because in this one, like, there's actually colors in the movie.
Yeah, it's not gray anymore.
Unlike the first one.
Which I think, I was pointing it out to Akasha, but there's, like, only one flashback to the first movie in this entire movie. And I think the reason for that is because I think they were kind of embarrassed by the fact that the first movie was so gray.
Yeah. And I have two other points that I think I'm like, yeah, this is just better technically. The music's
really good.
Better.
Yeah.
Except for a couple weird scenes where it's like doing plucky little dun dun dun, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, there's some specific songs this review I actually want to do, kind of talk about the soundtrack, because it is kind of odd, because there's, like, really, really good bits. Like, okay, there's this really famous song that's from it called, like, I think it's called, My Enemy. I think that's the name of it. But it's supposed to be, like, Electro's theme, or whatever, right?
And it's a shitty dubstep.
Well, no. Here, so... The thing is, you haven't heard the song in its entirety. It's like a 7-minute long song, and I used to be obsessed with it as a kid. But it's an actually interesting song because it's like paced in the same way that the character of Electro is. Like, it starts out and it's like this curious, like, dun 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 dun, and then it, like, ramps up a little bit more, and then it does become the dubstep version, which is kind of shit. But it is a very good connecting song to have like as your character's theme or whatever.
People, it does Electro no favors that he is themed around dubstep in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that was an interesting. I don't know, just because it's literally like I don't know. It was like it was just the early 2000s. I mean, think about it. It was 2014. Skrillex was like at the height of his game then.
But some of the things they use, like with that theme, are just so stupid in retrospect. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. I get you completely.
But the other thing that I liked more than the first movie is that Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield are like actually acting in this movie.
Oh yeah, well I don't even think it's that they're actually acting. I think that the writing got better because it's not. There's like I was saying to you last night that the acting or whatever in the first one, it's like 90% of the scenes with them together is them doing their like baby goo goo baba bullshit, and in this movie those scenes are cut down to like maybe 25% of their screen time instead, and the rest of it's actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a major improvement, because honestly, going into it, I was like, wait a minute. Are they going to just be as bad as they were in the first? Because honestly, if they were as bad as they were in the first one, then yes, this movie would have been worse than the first one.
Yeah. Because like the romance is the only thing that fucking
works in this movie. Like works story wise, at least.
Yeah. But do we want to get into spoilers?
Yeah, I guess let's before we get into spoilers, Rose, if you're still in the chat, I just wanted to ask, how does the audio sound? I checked on it earlier, but I've just been tinkering with it since it's two of us and we have like a new setup, kinda.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're both audible and I guess sound good at the same time. Audio is good? Awesome.
Thank you.
We are both using just one microphone, so obviously it's a little difficult.
Yeah, Brand's probably gonna sound a teeny bit louder.
Oh yeah, well I have a louder cadence anyway.
Yeah, you freaking yell in this apartment, dude.
I do. I have tinnitus. I can't fucking hear. But anyway, all right, let's get into some spoilers. I actually took notes for this one, unlike Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I have a lot of them. So I think we both wrote this down, which was pretty funny, but I just wanted to point out, like, going along with the music is really good. We both really, really liked the opening song to this movie.
Yeah,
it was like, and I always think that's like a good sign, is when like your opener is like really, banging. So I just wanted to point that out, that the music, it goes along with the music. It does get a lot better in this movie comparatively.
Yeah.
Except they do, I just going forward, they do have another instance where they use licensed songs and like montages like they do in the first one, and those are probably the worst uses of music in the movie, just like they were in the first one. Mm-hmm. More Philip Phillips for some reason, I guess. They just had a Mark Webb just like really loved. Maybe you know what? If Mark Webb has a daughter, I bet you she really loved Philip Phillips.
And that was where that came
And
from.
that's why he had him in the movie. Yeah, I bet you.
But Rose said, don't worry, all my friends say I'm too loud. Apparently Americans just speak at a higher volume than our Irish friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, stereotypes would have you think different, I guess. Because they're, stereotype like of an Irish person is usually loud.
Yeah,
which,
but also there's a stereotype that Americans are fucking loud, so who's louder?
I don't know.
A loud competition.
If an American falls in the woods, do they make a sound? But anyway, back to the review. We have an opening scene that continues on. What are you sighing for?
I hate this spy bullshit.
So yeah, we open up again with what the fuck is the mom's name? Mary Parker and Richard Parker. Yeah. We don't give a shit about Mary because for some reason the movie doesn't.
And also Spider-Man doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just talk about this right now because it's kind of a part that really bothered Akasha and I. But this whole movie is just Peter Parker figuring out what happened to his dad.
Yeah.
And not his mom.
He does not give
and I know that like the idea is that they both are in on the same thing, but they literally, I couldn't even, like, we were just thinking earlier, I couldn't even think of her name. That's how little she is mentioned in this movie.
Yeah.
I know the name Richard Parker because they say his name 100 fucking different times.
Yeah.
And they show him a million times. The only time we see the mom character is when she's with Richard, and that's it. Mm-hmm. With Richard, we see him with, like, you know, Norman Osborne. We see him with so many other characters, but her, she's
in the one scene in the beginning.
Yeah, and that's about it. And then she gets fucking killed. But yeah, I guess that's the opening scene, is that both Richard and Mary Parker get assassinated on a really dumb, like, airplane set piece, but I think that...
Wait a minute, Rose, that is not true.
What?
LMAO, Richard Parker, the name of the tiger in Life of Pi.
Is that true? I think that actually is true.
Really?
I think so.
I have the book right over there. I'm not getting up to get it, though.
No, but yeah, it's just another dumb fucking scene that... And honestly, this movie does do more with the espionage stuff, but...
It makes it even worse because of the reveals about Spider-Man that come with it.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I didn't even think that the worst part of this movie is actually because of this whole plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it feels like kind of I don't know, the plot makes it feel kind of minor because there's so much so much is going on that everything kind of feels minor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there is a funny scene, though, where, I don't even know what he's supposed to be on the plane, if he's like a flight attendant.
And he's supposed to be the co-pilot.
Or the co-pilot.
Yeah.
But, you know, he betrays them and kills them or whatever.
He kills the pilot.
But he takes his sweet-ass time walking in and, like, having casual conversation for a couple minutes with Richard Parker. And I'm like, why didn't you just burst back here and just try to kill him?
Yeah, why doesn't he just instantly shoot him in the head?
Instead he goes to the sink and washes, like, massive amounts of blood off his hands.
And tries to play it off so coy and shit. And then it's like, even after that, he just holds him at gunpoint for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, you were sent here to kill him. Kill him.
Yeah.
But it's only for the plot convenience so that Richard Parker can send all of his, like, evidence of everything that happened to... Can we just spoil this whole, like, a little bit of this whole plot line?
Yeah,
like, okay.
It's easier to digest.
Yeah, so Richard Parker has a bunch of documents that he basically got framed of doing something that he didn't do at Oscorp. So then he was basically blacklisted, and that's why he was wanted dead, right?
Yeah.
So he gets in this
he wouldn't give Oscorp his research.
Yes, exactly, which we talked about in the first movie's review because they discussed that.
Yeah.
But he, they get on the plane, and he sends all of this evidence to this thing called Roosevelt, which through the whole movie is basically Peter Parker trying to figure out what Roosevelt is. And Roosevelt is just this train. I like the explanation for it. They explain it that it was a train that was secretly used for President Roosevelt to hide his polio, which was those are actually real things, I'm pretty sure. And what it is that there's like an underground like train or whatever that has all of Richard Parker's research in it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil the reveal of that just yet because that's kind of a lot bit later, but
Rose said, God, now I'm just imagining a man having a conversation with a tiger.
Yeah,
he holds the tiger at gunpoint and tries to get him to stop downloading.
He shoots his wife. The guy. I gotta say, it is stupid that like it's just a stupid set piece to be like, oh, it's a plane. But I gotta say, I really like the CGI in this movie, and the parts where the plane is going down are really cool looking to me.
Yeah, the fight scene though in the plane is actually.
Oh no, it's terrible because it's like it's all handheld, and I was saying to Akash, it's literally like Mark Webb does not know how to direct in like a very small space, because all he thinks is like, oh, if I shake the camera really, really violently, then it's gonna make it really intense. And it's like, no, I just cannot see where the fuck these characters are at all.
Yeah, because didn't I say, like, well, how about to show you're fighting in a small, tense space, how about you put the camera, like, in a unique, tight location?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You show tight, like, you know, you have it in a, like, you're in a tight location, right? You have tight angles. You have really small, you have, like, close-ups of, like, a fist coming out of, like, the camera lens or something like that. Something...
But I see the whole fucking cabin of the plane.
Yeah, no, something really, like, introspective about it. But no, it's just, like, a really... Someone just standing stationary and just shaking a camera back and forth is, like... aggressively as they fucking can, you know what I mean? And that's basically all it is.
Yeah.
But I guess let's move on from that subplot, because it doesn't really matter other than the big reveal later on in the movie. We open up with a really cool shot, the most like iconic shot of the movie, where Spider-Man is skydiving like off of Oscorp Tower or whatever, and it's like, it is really an impressive shot because they have like the fabric rippling like he's like a fucking paraglider and shit. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I meant to say this in the first review, but I couldn't fucking remember the name, but it's like these scenes are like Hardcore Henry, like the first person scenes.
Oh yeah, because they do have a lot of stuff where they do him from first person, like shooting the webs and stuff. Yeah. Hardcore Henry, that's a really good movie. Recommend. Oh, we didn't say if we recommended this movie in the non-spoiler. I guess we'll just do that at the end because we missed it, but that's okay. But yeah, they've changed the spider suit, which thank fucking Christ, because it's actually a really good spider suit now. It no longer has the orange lenses. It has like nice white fabric. Mm-hmm. It's still got like the cool spider logo design and stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's just, for me, it's those fucking eyes. I hate them so much. But yeah, we get the first like action scene of the movie, and we meet Paul Giamatti.
Say hello to Alexi.
Yeah, that's you know what? That was honestly, Akasha, a better rendition than Paul Giamatti does of the character. That was really good. I'll give you. I'm giving you a small clap because I can't really clap my hands, but that was really good.
He's so ridiculous.
No, he's so bad. I don't know what Paul Giamatti... Like, Paul Giamatti is such a good actor, but what the fuck, man? What is this? Like, what is this character? It's like the worst Russian accent I've ever heard in my life. Like you're... Honestly, you do it more justice than he did. It's more like... Say hello to Alexi. It's so fucking bad, and he just, it's so stupid, but... Yeah,
they really make him out like he has a chunk of his brain missing.
Yeah, yeah, and he has, like, a weird, like, head tattoo and stuff. He also, like, they also just make him, like, that funny, like... Oh, he's Russian. I mean, I think they always do this with the Rhino. I think the funny, oh, he's Russian, so he doesn't speak very good English.
Well, they're like, oh, he's so, like, silly and over the top because he's Russian.
Yeah. Which I don't think that, like, okay, not to compare too much of them, but it's like, if you compare, like, the Rhino and that to, like, the Rhino in the Spider-Man game, it's like, he's just Russian. You know what I mean? It's not that he's, like, stupid because he's Russian.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It is weird.
But this scene is important for a few reasons. One, we get introduced to Max Dillon, who is I guess he's the main villain, right? Would you say?
I guess.
Would you say? I don't know. I don't even know.
I would only say he's the main villain because they introduce him before the other villain. That's all.
Yeah. But Max Dillon, played by Jamie Foxx, he's the goofiest looking motherfucker. He's got a big ass tooth gap.
He's kind of cute.
He's kind of cute. Well, no, he's only cute because it's like they're trying to make Jamie Foxx, who is like one of the hottest fucking... That guy, Akash and I were looking at it. That guy's like, what, 53?
Yeah.
He looks like he's fucking 60. He's so handsome. He's like the handsomest dude. He looks so young. You know what I mean? He's like, I was saying to you, like, I didn't even believe that he was like anywhere near over 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but it's like they just try to make him look ugly, which like in turn just makes him kind of cute in like a weird way. But yeah, he's got like a weird hairpiece that no fucking person has.
Rhodes said about the rhino, I cannot stand bad accents.
Yeah, it's not even it's literally look it up. Look up just like the first. It's probably, if you look it up, it would be like the first scene of the movie. If you looked it up on like movie clips or something, because it's like the first action scene.
Yeah.
You could find it, and he's just like, oh my god, that's part when he actually becomes the rhino, and he says, I am the rhino.
Yeah.
He says it exactly like that. But that's not till the very end of the movie. But yeah, we meet Max Dillon. He's very nerdy. Obviously he's a terrible fucking, like, a terribly written character, but I gotta give credit where credit's due. Jamie Foxx is trying his fucking damnedest with his character. Like, Jamie Foxx is just a good actor. And there's like scenes with this character before he becomes Electro, because okay, in the first scene where he meets Spider-Man, he like instantly, because he's like a loser and no one likes him, right? And he instantly meets Spider-Man, and he's like, gets saved by him, and Spider-Man's like, oh, you're cool, you know, you're my eyes and ears and stuff, and you know, whatever. So he
touches him a lot.
Well, no, he just grabs him, he like pats him on the shoulders.
No, he's like holding him by the shoulders the entire time, and then he does that thing where he's like, lick this, and then he makes him lick his hand, and then he slicks back.
Well, yeah, that's supposed to be like a joke,
though.
I
know it's a joke. It's just so weird how close they're staying.
Yeah, I guess so. But it instantly gives him a fascination with Spider-Man, where he thinks Spider-Man is now his best friend, which, I don't know, in theory is not like a terrible plot point. Yeah, it's just the writing of this movie is so fucking bad, and I think that the biggest issue for me when it comes down to this character is the reason that there's conflict in this movie. And we'll get to that in a little bit, and I'll complain about it a whole lot then, but I think that's like my biggest complaint, is that there is no conflict in this movie. It's made up conflict.
I would like to say as well that, like, Jamie Foxx's character, Max Dillon, they try to show him, like, he's, like, a total loser. And yes, in the scenes he is, but it's just, like, he doesn't interact with anyone negatively, really, except BJ Novak, who always plays an asshole, so you don't... Oh,
yeah, BJ Novak's in this film. If you don't know him, he's in The Office. He plays his boss. I just wanted to clarify that he's his boss. Yeah,
he plays Max Dillon's boss, but it's weird because it's like you don't see people being repulsed by him or anything.
Yeah, he's actually, well, the thing is, it's like there's a scene where he meets Gwen Stacy.
And she thinks he's cute.
Yeah, he's just nice.
Yeah.
He's just very nice. Like, he's awkward, and he's very, like, he obviously does not know how to talk to people, clearly, because there's like a bit where, like, she's like on the elevator and she's about to ask for the floor, and he's like, oh no, I got it, like trying to be like respectful about it and stuff. Like, it's like clearly he doesn't, but he's like nice. It's weird because there's never a point. It's like Spider-Man is more of like a stalker in both of these movies than like Max Dillon does anything wrong, you know what I mean? Like, like Spider-Man actually stalks Gwen Stacy in both this movie and, as we said, in the previous movie.
Yeah, and it's just really weird that like we don't get any interactions where it seems like even that he's misunderstood. It seems like BJ Novak is being a dick to him, as his characters always are, and you're like, well, that guy's a dick.
The thing is, it's also like the conflict for his character is that his whole idea for like the nuclear power source for the city got stolen, basically. Like, he designed he designed the plans for it, and Oscorp stole it. And they just kind of like hired him because they like would get probably like sued or something otherwise. I don't know.
And it's like, wow, he's nice but a little awkward, and he's a super genius. Anyone I know?
Yeah, but it's also like the scene that we get of him where it's supposed to be like weird. It's like not even weird. It's just really sad, and it's the scene where he's like in his apartment just talking to Spider-Man.
Oh, and you're like, this man has schizophrenia.
Yeah. Well, no, he's talking to himself as Spider-Man, and he's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, you came to my birthday. You came, out of all the people in the city, you came to see me." And he's like talking to himself, like being like, "Yeah, of course I came to see you. Like, why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't I come to see my best friend?"
Yeah, stuff like that. And it's like, is that? I know it's supposed to be. Because Jamie Foxx, he does put it the way where it's supposed to be like the world is against him, but it's just like, I don't know. It feels like just like a few bullies are like really just taunting him, and no one. I know it's supposed to be like, oh, no one gives him any chance, but it's just like, I don't know. It's very weird how this movie portrays it, because it's just like like we said, he does nothing weird to people.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I guess the worst he has is have a schizophrenic vision of beating up his abusive boss, and that's it.
Yeah,
like the only person he's ever weird to is the abuser. And it's like, is he supposed to be wrong for that? He doesn't even do anything. He just has weird, like we said, schizophrenic visions where he like beats him up. Oh yeah, also speaking of the schizophrenic vision, they like show that fucking Max Dillon believes in star signs and shit, because he like grabs. So what happens is BJ Novak's character grabs or says, what does he say? Max Dillon says something about Spider-Man, and then Max
might have the line right.
No, I know the line Max Dillon says, but what does BJ Novak say? He says something like Spider-Man wouldn't show up to your birthday and hit, or something like I don't know, something really bad about Spider-Man. Yeah. But then Max Dillon fucking grabs him by the throat and he says, "Spider-Man wouldn't do that, or wouldn't be like that. He's a Leo, you're a Sagittarius." And I burst out fucking laughing because I just thought it was really funny. Also, how does Max Dillon know what the fuck star sign Spider-Man is? Did Spider-Man give his birthday to the public knowledge?
Or maybe he's just guessing. I don't know. Maybe he's psychic.
Yeah, Rose says, LMAO, everybody has intrusive thoughts sometimes, and it's not even that weird. Exactly, that's what everybody has intrusive thoughts. Even worse than that. The worst he does is literally just grab him by the neck and say, you suck. That's basically all he does, you know what I mean?
It's like, I want to say, too, the point with these movies is always that, like, the villain is not just purely evil, like, they have some conflict. But the thing is like, it really just feels like you're just watching this poor guy just accidentally get caught in this situation, and then...
Well, the thing is, it's like all of the Spider-Man villains are supposed to kind of be like that, though, that they're like... I mean, except for Norman Osborn, it's like in Spider-Man 2, the original one, it's like Alfred Molina, his character only becomes bad because he gets literally, like, his brain infested. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he doesn't even do, like, any instigating thing where it's really bad, where he should become a villain.
Oh, yeah. It's
like you say, there's no conflict.
Yeah, no, you're true. That's true, because at least with Alfred Molina's character, it's like Peter at least is like, you sure you don't want to double check things? And he says no. Yeah. With Max Dillon, he's literally forced to stay behind. Okay, I guess let's just talk about how he becomes Electro.
Yeah, we're on Max Dillon.
Because it's the dumbest fucking thing, and everybody knows it, and everybody hates it. But so I don't even know what the explanation for why this happens.
I think it's because they're...
No, okay, so let me explain a little bit. So we talked about how he created the power grid that is going to power the whole city, right?
Yeah.
Well, Oscorp stole that, and now they're doing it. They've created this huge power grid that powers the whole city. Yeah. And that's like what the whole movie kind of centers around. Is Oscorp taking that and like making a huge fucking like big plantation what would the term be, like a
power plant?
Yeah, a huge power plant with just huge towers. And the only reason I'm describing it is because it's where the end of the movie takes place. But so they stole it, but okay, BJ Novak comes up to Max Dillon and he's like, "Oh, you got to stay behind because something's fucked up." And Max Dillon's like, "It's my birthday," and whatever. But he goes up, and there's a couple tanks of electric eels.
For some reason.
Well, no. I think the reason, I don't think they explain this in the movie, but I think the reasoning that the eels are there is because they're the things powering the city.
What?
I think that's the reason they're there.
What?
I think they're supposed to be, like, super-powered eels.
Okay.
Because, like, think about it, how they had, like, the super-powered spiders, obviously, like in the first one. I think they're supposed to be, like, super electric eels. Because how else would you explain how he turns into Electro?
I don't know. The thing is also, another confusing part is they say explicitly in the movie that all of the, like, animal experiments at Oscorp got removed, but those eels are just out in the open.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
But anyway, he goes up and he calls to what? So this is what's even more fucked up about it, is that he goes up and he calls to one of the electricians in the building, and he's like, hey, I need you to shut down the power grid to this specific, like, sector that I need to be working on. And the guy's like, fuck you, I'm going home. Basically. And then Max is like, no, I'm up here, I need help now. And then the guy just hangs up on him.
Yep.
And it's like, okay. So, and it's like, is that supposed to be the Alfred Molina moment that Max makes the decision to do it anyway? Because it's like, he was kind of told that he'd be fired if he didn't do it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
that's not really a choice.
Yeah, it's very weird. And then, obviously, he gets shocked, and he falls into the tank of electric eels, or whatever, and gets bitten and electrocuted by them like a million zillion times, and gets turned into, like, a block of char.
Yep.
And then later on, that block of char births Electro.
Yep.
Because eels?
Because eels.
Anyway.
So that is Electro.
Yeah. And it's like, I know it's like our superhero is Spider-Man. He gets bit by a spider, and it's like we're supposed to be fine with that, you know what I mean? And we are, but it's like with this...
But there was an explanation that they're genetically engineered. We have no explanation for why the fuck those eels are there and what they do.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think my theory is supposed to be that they are the power source to the city.
Alright.
I'm just gonna go with that, though.
Alright.
I guess we should talk about a little bit about Pete and Gwen Stacy's stuff. Yeah. They break up in this movie, like, because at the end of the first movie, they decide to give the relationship a shot, despite Peter still feeling really shitty about promising her dad, if you remember, that he would stay away. Mm-hmm. So this movie supposedly takes place, I'm guessing, like a year after or something, right? I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think. Well, they're graduating from
high school.
High school,
yeah. But also, fucked up. Flash Thompson ain't in this movie at all. Ooh. He was like, they purposely made him have an arc, like, in the first movie, and he isn't even, like, at that graduation scene. I didn't even, like, mention it when we were watching the movie, but I'm a little pissed about that, because they did at least, like, if you're gonna give me a character and give me an arc, at least show him, like, talk to Peter during graduation at least once. Like, come on.
Yeah. Deleted scene.
A deleted scene. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it is. There's only one deleted scene that I know about in this movie that we will discuss. But they break up because Peter just keeps going back and forth with her, where he's just like, hey, I feel like shit because your dad made me promise to stay away. And it's like, she just breaks up with him because it's obviously too fucking stressful for teenagers to handle, which fair enough.
Yeah.
But they break up. And then we get a couple montages of Spider-Man doing shit or whatever. Is there anything really important to bring up within that? Anything that you've got note-wise? Any funnies that you want to bring up?
Not really.
The dialogue between them is a lot better.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Like, before they break up, there's, like, a lot of cute scenes and really nice scenes with Gwen. Like, they keep having this motif where at the beginning of the movie, they play, like, the graduation speech over, like, an action scene.
Yeah, well, it's over the scene of him stopping the rhino because the point is he's late to the graduation and he never gets to hear the speech that she makes.
Yeah.
So she saves it on a hard drive and gives it to him at graduation.
Yeah, which is going to be important at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Also, I just wanted... This is a little bit of backtracking. I just wanted to bring something up that it ties into the Max Dillon scene of the movie. It's just like a problem I have. During the part where Spider-Man saves Max Dillon, like literally exclusively, like 2 seconds before, in a shot, so the Rhino's like driving a big ass truck or whatever that's holding like orange serum things.
Plutonium, I think?
Is it supposed to be plutonium?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. But he's driving a huge ass truck.
Filled with maple syrup.
Yeah, filled with maple syrup.
Yeah.
But my problem is that there's just a shot of him like plowing into taxis and like decimating them. And then like we don't see Spider-Man save the people out of those cars.
Yeah, they all die.
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I guess the assumption is maybe like he's so quick he's like pulling them out of the cars and like saving, but we don't see it.
If I don't see it.
Yeah, if I don't see it, it didn't happen. So to me, it makes that Max Dillon scene even more weird because then it makes it seem like he is only saving him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like all these people are fucking dying.
Yeah. But also, like, I also wanted to say that Electro comes up with the title of these movies when a movie has already been made with this title.
Oh, is Davey coughing up?
Davey's coughing. Hold on.
All right. Hold on, everybody. Davey has a little bit of asthma, so he has some coughing fits, so...
Let's take you to the water, okay?
He's doing okay?
I think so.
Just a brief intermission, everybody. Should I continue on?
Yeah, continue. I'm gonna go take him to his water.
Okay. I guess, let's talk about Dane Dehaan. Dane Dehaan's in this movie. And Akasha will want to talk about Dane Dehaan when she gets back, but he is in this movie, and he's playing the titular character of Harry Osborne, everybody's favorite worst character. And god damn it if he isn't the worst character yet again. Akasha and I did discuss it, and he is, again, the worst part of this of the Spider-Man movie. It's so fucking weird that they can just not make a good Harry Osborne character. But he shows up out of the blue. And I guess the idea is that he's been missing, or not missing, but he's been at like boarding school and stuff for the past 7 years. So he's 18 and he left when he was 11, right? And Pete hasn't seen him since they were 10, or they were best friends when they were 10 or whatever. But we meet Dane Dehaan because Norman Osborn, following the plot from the last movie, is dying. And it turns out that he's dying from
Legionnaire's disease.
From goblin disease. Is he doing good?
Yeah, he's doing good. I just brought him with me because he looked upset.
Did he drink some water?
Yeah.
Good. We're talking about Dane Dehaan, though. Just how he's the worst part in the movie. But he goes to visit Norman because Norman's sick. And this is the only time we ever really see Norman in all of these movies, even though he's a really important character. And I guess in both movies, and I guess that's like kind of supposed to be the point, is it's like, oh, he's so important, but he's sick, you know? So, you know, he's sick, but he tells Harry that he's got this disease too, and he's going to become a dying goblin or whatever.
It's like seeing a ghost.
Yeah, but anyway, he dies, giving Harry a file, a hard drive of his own, which I just noticed that's supposed to be a parallel, but it does not work at all. But he gives him a file, he dies, and then Peter Parker shows up because he sees it on the news, and he's like, oh, well, you were there for me when Uncle Ben died, or no, you were there for me when my parents died when I was 10?
Yep.
So I'm going to be there for you now when we're both 18.
Yep.
A person I haven't talked to in 7 years.
8 years.
8 years.
Yep.
No, it's 7.
They say 8. Because
oh yeah, he
Harry
says
goes
10.
10. Peter says, no, it's not been 10, it's 8.
Yeah, true. But yeah, they haven't seen each other for 8 years. And then Akasha looked at me and just asked me the question, and it's absolutely true. She said to me, if the person you were best friends with in 10th grade, their parents died, would you go visit them?
Not 10th grade, not even 10th grade.
Or not 10th grade.
5th grade.
Yeah, when you were 10 years old, sorry.
Yeah.
Not 10th grade, I meant when you were 10 years old. And I was like, I don't even remember who was my best friend when I was a stupid little kid that had like 1,000,002 best friends. I thought everybody was my fucking best friend when really no one liked me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense. And I just want to point that out because every time I see a review for these movies, I don't think anyone ever mentions that. And that's like the worst part about it. And what even is worse from this is we only get like really one scene to build their character.
They just go skipping rocks.
Yeah, they go skipping rocks on the beach and talk about girls. And I just want to say I wrote what did I write?
What about the shit audio?
Oh, well, yeah, no, the audio for some reason in that scene, I think, honestly, that scene was added in, like, last. I think that was probably one of the last scenes they probably filmed. I'm not joking. I think that's one of the last scenes they filmed because there are so many inconsistencies, just technically and story-wise. Peter Parker is full-on Brooklyn in this scene. Like, he is, you know, he's playing up, he has a New York accent in this movie, because he's from New York, but he does not talk like Peter Parker. He talks about how he got the briefcase from his dad from the first movie, and what's the way he says it? He says, got a briefcase full of junk.
Yeah.
It's like
a briefcase full of junk.
Yeah, it's just so we can't do it justice because he just says it so fucking weirdly. But it's like the only line delivery he says in that entire movie that sounds like that.
Yeah. I also noted, though, it's not nearly as bad as in that scene, but whenever he talks to Aunt May in this movie, he also plays up his New York accent.
Also, one of my critiques of the last movie was that there's not enough Aunt May, and this movie tries to rectify it, but it's just not very good still.
Hollow.
It's both hollow. There's like one scene between Peter and May that I really like. That because it's like most of the time they're just spewing the same bullshit where it's like, "Oh, what are you doing, Peter? I missed Ben, Peter. I'm lonely, Peter." It's like I get it that she's supposed to be sad, but at least like Aunt May in the Sam Raimi trilogy would like be hopeful like a lot of the time. She's just a fucking downer in this movie, and I get it, she's supposed to be like a depressed widow, but it's just depressing because I don't like Aunt May's just, I don't know. I don't want to watch an old woman be sad. And it's like I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Well, I think there's also some a few, maybe like 2 cute scenes, like the graduation one in the beginning.
Yeah,
and the one where they talk about his dad.
Yeah, it's just that the scene where they talk about his dad is the one that I was saying is like the best scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
It's just I guess it's not that I don't want to see her being sad. It's just she, like I said, she's just saying the same things where she says I miss Ben in the first and this movie like 10 times. And it's like, I get it, you miss Ben. You don't have to say it to me every single time you're in a scene. You know what I mean? I get it, you're depressed because your husband died. You don't need to keep reminding me. And I think that's just more on the fucking writers trying to be like, oh man, she's so tragic because her husband died, so let's just constantly make her talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wrote down Gobby and Spidey sitting on the beach. Fuck this scene, by the way, for the beach scene.
And I want to say now as well that we have like the 2 villains established,
which are Harry Osborne and Electro. Also, we didn't mention that when Electro becomes Electro, he becomes blue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So an eel looks directly in his face,
and
like it knows what it's doing.
Also, we mentioned how he has a tooth gap. He no longer now has a tooth gap because it like the electric parts of his body make the teeth like
grow together,
like magnetize together and form 2 big buck teeth, basically.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Anyhow,
I
was gonna say that Now that we have the two villains established, I just want to say that, like, they really try to hinge the quote-unquote issue of this movie on their quote-unquote relationships with Spider-Man. And now
Slash Peter Parker.
Yeah. And
because
now,
it's supposed to be like they have a similarity because Harry Osborne, as we'll talk about in a bit, will hate Peter Parker, which will in turn, Electro will hate Spider-Man, which we'll talk about, obviously.
And now that you know their relationships with Spider-Man / Peter Parker, you know why the fucking heart of this movie is so terrible. It's because the relationships are just nothing. They're just bullshit.
Yeah, they don't have relationships.
They scraped it together and they're like, oh, you were my friend when I was 10 and you're a guy who thought you were Spider-Man's friend.
Yeah, it's very lazy.
And they kind of try to turn it like,
well, yeah.
Oh, well, it's kind of Spider-Man's fault.
Yeah, I guess let's talk about... Well, with Harry Osborne, honestly, the way the writing is, it is Spider-Man's fault. But it makes no sense that... we'll talk about it, but the way they make it Spider-Man's fault, from a logistic reason, makes no fucking sense.
Also, I want to say on Dane Dehaan, 1, he's a terrible actor. 2, there's like a scene during this movie where they're like at a board meeting where he first becomes the director of Oscorp, and we see a woman who becomes his assistant whose name is Felicia.
Yeah, and I looked it up on IMDb. It is Felicia Hardy.
Is it?
Yeah, her last name is Hardy in the credits.
They were trying to set up Black Cat for the last movie.
Yeah, the third. Yeah, at the end of this, I definitely want to talk about the setup for the third movie.
I just thought that was crazy when I heard her name was Felicia.
Yeah, I did too, because I didn't remember that shit either. It was kind of like hearing the name Dr. Kirk Connors for me in Spider-Man 2, being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I like original Spider-Man 2, not this Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or the next Spider-Man 2.
But, what did you want to talk about next?
I can't remember. Where were we?
I was talking about Dane Dehaan. Oh, wait. I want to talk about something.
What?
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify. Dane Dehaan is basically a bad actor, but if you do want to see a good Dane Dehaan performance, the Metallica movie, Metallica Through the Never, is really, really good. That's also a movie I recommend, but it's more of like a concert. It's like a concert within a movie. It's really cool. I'll have to show it to you sometime because it's actually really good.
Hey, Nasty, we just be reviewing Spider-Man, though.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about how there's a part where I'm like, oh, I've fucking groaned and rolled my eyes, where Gwen Stacy wants to hang out with Peter.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's actually where I wanted to go to next. I wanted to go to where they make up and then where Electro first, like, gets introduced or whatever. Yep. So, Gwen Stacy calls Peter after a couple months of them being broken up. The whole time, Peter also has been stalking her.
Yep. Which
is, like, supposed to be endearing because they both love each other, but he's still stalking her.
Yeah.
But also there is a bit in this movie that I really like recurring, is that when Peter and Gwen Stacy are dating, when they're dating, Peter constantly has visions of Captain Stacy, her dad.
Yeah.
And then once they're broken up, like, bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
Once they're broken up, he doesn't have those visions anymore. And they're broken up throughout a majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And then once they get back together, he instantly sees him again. So I just wanted to say I really, really like that.
Yeah, it was good.
I absolutely loved Amazing Spider-Man. Honestly, Nasty, going into this second one, I thought I was going to hate it. And I honestly liked it a lot more than I thought I did. As we've been talking about so far. There's problems with it, sure. But I've got to be honest, I had a lot of fun watching this movie.
In this movie, you're like, damn, Spider-Man actually good, though.
Yeah, Spider-Man's really good. I mean, well, Spider-Man was the good, like, we were saying, and it's also, like, Peter Parker, I think, has become, it's like Andrew Garfield becomes good at being both Peter Parker and Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
I think, because the complaint everybody has is that, oh, Andrew Garfield's a good Spider-Man but not a good Peter Parker, right? And that people say that Tobey Maguire is a good Peter Parker but not a good Spider-Man, which I don't agree.
Hey, I don't agree with that.
I think Andrew definitely kind of not nailed it, because there definitely are some scenes, like we said, that fucking beach scene is really weird. Also, just the fact that he even tries to talk.
So sorry, I had to step out for a bit there. What are we on today?
We're still talking about The Amazing Spider-Man.
I was actually kind of shocked, Rose. I did think you left because our cat started having a coughing fit, and you didn't say anything about it. And I was like, that is so something Rose would comment on.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, poor baby.
Yeah. But oh no, yeah, he's fine. He's fine though.
He's okay now. I gave him tummy and back rubs and got him some water.
Yes.
So
Yes.
he's good now.
Yes. Rose said yes, it would be. But anyway, yeah, so Gwen calls Peter out of the blue.
It's so stupid.
And says she wants to be friends with him to make it like less awkward.
She says to make it less complicated.
It makes it more complicated, like instantly.
I'm like, if you had just stayed away from this motherfucker, there would be no complications at all.
Here, hold on for a sec.
Alright.
Sorry, everybody. Had to fix the mic. The pop filter fucking flew off the mic a bit for a second for some reason.
And it immediately becomes complicated because both these motherfuckers start flirting with each other.
Well, yeah, because they're still in love with each other, and they both know it. Like, they both just... it's not even secret. That's the thing I do like about this movie, is that they both just understand. You know what I mean? Even though they fucking don't want to, they both get it. They both like... You know, Peter Parker knows that he loves Gwen Stacy, and they both, you know, vice versa. They know it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, why would you decide to do that if you wanted things to be less complicated? That in the course of things has never made anything less complicated. It has only made things less complicated if you are a divorced couple and have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you have to have like joint custody and shit.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're in love. It is hard when you're in love, Rose, but in this plot, okay, here's the plot for Gwen Stacy. She plans on moving to London and leaving Peter Parker behind. She
is hell-bent on divorcing her life from his.
Yeah, so why the fuck would you try to be friends if you want to, because the whole point is that she gets a chance to go to Oxford, right? Oxford?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she wants to go to London, and she's gonna go. She's gonna go whether Peter wants her to or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I get it that they're in love, but it's like, if you're really trying to separate yourself, I don't know. It's just like, also, I don't know. I've had situations where I've been in love with someone and I've known they'd have feelings too, and we've broken up and then thought about like being friends, and it just never works. It never has worked. And I'm guessing for some people it probably does, but it's just you know, it's a little awkward for me, at least. I don't know.
Nasty said she planning to ruin it.
It never works. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't think of a case where I don't know. Even like friends who did stuff like that, I can't think. Like in high school, can you even think of instances where it's like, ooh, the big couple fucking broke up and then they got back together and then instantly like they already broke up again? You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I remember.
I asked a guy out and he said, let's be friends, and we've literally never spoken since. Aww.
Yeah, no, I had a similar situation like that, and the guy was like, all right, well, we can just go back to being friends like we were before, and then after that, he just was like a horrible dick who just would just say awful, mean things, and I'm like, great.
I guess the justification for it, though, is that, like, Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker are both good people. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really do anything wrong. It's like they're not toxic to each other in any way, because it's like you see both sides of the argument. You can see like Peter is right and Gwen is right. They are both right because of how the way this movie works and ends.
There's that really awkward thing though where they're talking about the Korean place that Gwen Stacy loves, and Peter goes, "I know you love it there." And
Oh yeah,
it's
he
like,
outs that he stalks her.
and
Yeah.
Why would that's such an easy thing to avoid saying?
Well, no, it's supposed to be that he's awkward and he says things that he's not supposed to.
That's another thing is like once they're broken up, the dialogue gets really weird and awkward again, like the first.
It starts to pick back up towards the end, though. It's not that way the whole time. I'd say it's only really that bad for like that one scene, and maybe the closet. There's like a scene where they're in the closet that we're not gonna fucking talk about.
Yeah.
Later on.
But do you want to talk about the first Electro scene now?
Yeah, it's actually honestly one of the most iconic scenes in my head because I thought it was like one of the coolest things to me as a kid. I really, really did.
Yeah.
So, Electro gets born or whatever, and I don't know, this is it's kind of I don't know, a lot of people compare this movie to a video game, and I kind of agree that it's a very video game-esque, because
I really think they were trying to make a fucking dubstep music video.
the
big floating blue dubstep man.
Yeah, but anyway, but no, there's like, he wakes up and he sees like the big, like the city as like this big power grid, and it's really like, it looks visually really cool. I just wanted to say, I just like the visuals a lot in this movie. If I can give it anything, visually really, really good. I like it a lot. But no, he goes to Times Square or whatever. And this is happening during the conversation where Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker are like, "Oh, let's be friends" or whatever. Visuals make a big impact. Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do.
And this movie, for the most part, looks good, except for the fucking eyesore that is Electro.
Yeah, and it's not even that. I don't know. It's not even that, like. It's just that the design of him is bad. It's not even that the CG's bad. You know what I mean? It's just that his character design is terrible. But yeah, I guess if you haven't seen Electro, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Just look up a picture of Jamie Foxx's Electro in the previous movie. You'll know why it looks bad the instant you see it.
Yeah.
It looks even worse because, I don't know, at least like in the beginning when he has like the hoodie, it like has some personality to it, at least a little bit. But then like later on in the movie, he gets this fucking like wetsuit that's supposed to be like a super suit.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the worst fucking super suits I've ever seen in a fucking movie.
Yeah, you said it looks like a diver suit.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah.
Scuba suit.
No, it does look like a scuba suit though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I don't know why they thought that looked good. Honey, where's my super suit? Yeah.
Where's my super suit?
But no, it just looks. It's just funny that they like had such a terrible design amplified by that fucking like weird ass suit.
Yeah. But in this scene specifically, Electro is just really freaked out.
Yeah, and I do like this aspect that he's like really scared, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what's going on, and it's like, that makes sense. He doesn't instantly turn to a villain, right? Honestly, this part just makes me so fucking angry because
I know it does. Just tell your truth.
I'll tell my truth. I'll live my life. Okay, I'll tell the scene for what it is, and I'll explain why it doesn't work. So Electro shows up to Times Square, and he starts like hooking up to the power grid and starts sucking up the juice of Times Square or whatever. Cops start showing up and start surrounding him because it's some weird blue guy fucking sucking up the juice in Times Square, because I don't know, that's probably pretty fucking illegal in some way. But he starts getting surrounded by the cops, and he's instantly like, he snaps out of it because he realizes like he's kind of like a moth drawn to a flame, where it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of like, he just gets drawn to the electricity and just starts sucking it up or whatever. And then he like kind of snaps out of it, and he's like, oh shit, I'm being fucking surrounded by the cops. To which they start like throwing. Like I said, I'm just gonna talk about the scene and then talk about the issues with the scene. They throw flash grenades at him, which he throws back at them with electricity.
Somehow.
Well, yeah, I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
They start shooting at him, which the bullets start absorbing, because he's made of electricity. So why the fuck would a bullet hurt him? Spider-Man shows up and starts talking to him, whatever, right? And meanwhile, news crews have started to show up and now are filming. We're just going to now start calling him Electro, even though he hasn't been called Electro yet. They start filming Electro, and he's like, oh shit, people are noticing me, you know? People have never noticed me in my life. So this is like what I've always wanted. Because that's the reason he idolizes Spider-Man, is because it's like the idea of all these eyes on him.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it is kind of actually interesting. I do like it, that aspect of it.
Yeah. Rose said "aw" to that.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, it's like it works so good. It's like you just have to have that. Okay, whatever. We'll get to this. Spider-Man shows up and he starts talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, you know, I don't know what's going on," and it's like you think this thing would be like, "Oh, Spider-Man forgets who he is." And that pisses him off. But no, Spider-Man doesn't forget who he is. He remembers who he is. He's like, oh, he does remember his name, which fair, because he's Spider-Man. But he's like, oh, you're the guy who dropped the blueprints. Which, honestly, Spider-Man saves a lot of people in the day.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker looks nothing like Jamie Foxx because he's just a blue guy.
He's fucking blue now.
Yeah, it's like, that's pretty good of memory. So it's like, okay, Spider-Man remembers him. That's good. You know, that's what he always wanted, is Spider-Man to remember him. So that's what, like, is like, okay, that should be enough. But then it's like, he starts to back up, or whatever. So, well, okay, so the conflict is that where he's standing still, and in front of him is a grate, and if he stands on the grate, then it's going to electrocute a bunch of people in front of him. And the problem that we don't know as the audience, which is revealed to us, is that behind him is a puddle, which he then... The police have stopped shooting at him, by the way, which I guess I should mention because Spider-Man has showed up. He just wants to be noticed. I vibe with that. Yes, exactly. But, okay, so he steps into the puddle and he shocks himself because, okay, the idea of this movie is that they keep bringing up, I guess... no, I guess we'll mention it later, but he just shocks himself from the puddle, and one of the team members takes that as him doing something bad, and they shoot at him with and whatever. But then it's like, instantly, he's like, oh, Spider-Man, you fucking lied to me, right? And Spider-Man is just sitting there like, no, I told them not to. He literally says, like, in front of him, in front of all of these people, like, screams to the cops, do not shoot this man, I am his friend. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then he just gets shot. And
that's where the conflict.
That's the conflict. And it's like, what?
And now he hates Spider-Man.
Now he hates Spider-Man. Because he thinks he lied to him. And it's like, what? Yeah. It's like, the story fucking wrote itself. Just make it that Spider-Man didn't remember him. And that's why he's angry. You know what I mean? And part of the reason is that, he gets shot and he electrocutes the grate or whatever, and then all the cameras...
Yes, Rose, now he hates Spider-Man.
Yes, and then the cameras turn to Spider-Man and he's like, oh, you're just an attention hog, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever, awesome. Now we have conflict that doesn't even matter even more.
Yeah, and we have the stupid dubstep song in the background this whole scene going... Yeah. They're mean to me. Oh yeah, they lie to me.
Yeah, the song has clips of like someone whispering, like it's supposed to be like Electro's inner monologue where it's like, they lied to me, he steals from me, he's using me. Yeah, stuff like that. You want a villain because that's how you make a villain. Yeah, I guess so.
And it's just so horrible. It's like that scene, it's a terrible song.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the reason the scene doesn't make sense, is because there is no conflict. Yet again, that's the biggest problem with this movie. you didn't die, motherfucker, was probably a tingle to you. Exactly. That's the thing, is it's like, why is it also a big deal? Because it's like he says, oh, I don't like getting shot at, fair enough, but it doesn't hurt him.
It doesn't, no.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it, not wanting to get shot at, but if
It has a little bit of recoil.
it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so, it instantly is what, like, is like everybody's biggest problem with the movie, and it's like, no shit, it's like everyone's biggest problem with the movie.
Yeah.
But it even makes, like, less sense when you look at it, like, objectively. You know what I mean? Alameo, why does that remind me of the chanting of that girl's name in the background music of that one Robert Rodriguez movie? Which one? which Robert Rodriguez movie?
They kind of do that in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. With, like, like the singing music.
Shorts? Oh my god, you're right, yes! Oh my god, I forgot about Shorts. Fuck. Oh my god. Alright, Robert Rodriguez review movie series soon. That probably will actually be a thing. Because we love Robert Rodriguez. Yeah, isn't her name like Veruca or Velukara or some stupid fucking name?
Veronica.
Anyway, we're fucking sidetracking and talking about Shorts, a movie no one else remembers. Helvetica, you're right. It
I
is.
want to talk about the next part.
What's the next part?
The Dane Dehaan
wait.
trouble.
We should just discuss that. They quickly, Spider-Man puts on a fucking fireman's helmet and shoots Electro with a big hose, and they arrest Electro.
Yeah.
He's sent to Ravencroft Institution.
Where they can torture him.
Yeah, which is supposed to be a front for, like, Oscorp human experiment stuff.
Yeah. But, so, now we get the problem next between Peter Parker / Spider-Man and Dane Dehaan, which is where Harry has fucking goblin disease.
Oh yeah, so his goblin disease is really progressing because he refuses help. I that's what I assume is the reason that.
We have to assume that because they don't say anything.
Yeah, they don't say why his is progressing, because his father is played by Chris Cooper, and he's like 70.
70.
Yeah, and it's like, why the fuck? This man's 20 years old. Why is he dying?
Yeah, why is he dying already?
Yeah.
So we have to make assumptions because the movie doesn't give us any information.
Yeah, I really don't know, but
what happens is he says he wants to meet with Peter, and they have a conversation where Dane Dehaan is like, "Listen, you little bitch, I know you take pictures of Spider-Man."
We should discuss that. They introduced that Peter Parker takes pictures for the Daily Bugle, but there is no J. Jonah Jameson except for one funny bit where they, like,
mention his name.
They mention his name where, like, Peter sends him an email of, like, the pictures he took, and he says, like, oh, maybe you should reconsider that Spider-Man's not a bad guy, and it's just an email from him that says wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, at least we get a little bit, but I just wish J.K. Simmons was in the movie.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you think, we'll talk about this more, but you think that they were going to probably introduce him in the third movie.
Yeah, like, actually physically show him.
Yeah. Which I agree. That's peak JJJ energy. Yeah, it is. It was a pretty good joke.
Yeah. But, well, also part of the joke was, Aunt May was like, does he pay you well? And Peter's like, yeah, he pays me well if this was like 1960.
Yeah, he says he pays me well. He pays me well if we were in 1961, he pays me well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, the jokes in this movie are a lot better than the jokes in the last movie.
They really are.
We didn't mention that, but I did actually find myself laughing at stuff like that.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Dane Dehaan.
Yeah.
To Harry.
So yeah, he figures out that Peter Parker takes the pictures of Spider-Man
because his name is just in really bold black print at the bottom of Spider-Man pictures. Well, of course it should be. I'm not saying that's ridiculous.
No, but anyway.
That's how Harry figures it out. And
so he calls him up to his big Oscorp building.
Listen, you little bitch, I know you know Spider-Man. I know you know where he is. I want you to find Spider-Man for me so he will give me spider blood so I can feel better. So I don't have goblin disease.
Okay, and I just can I take it from here for a sec?
Yeah.
So this movie is trying to do the exact same plot point as the original Spider-Man 2, if you think about it, because because Harry does go to Peter Parker, or he tells Otto Octavius to go to Peter Parker to find Spider-Man.
Yep.
But the only reason that works is because they established that Peter Parker has somewhat alluded to that that Spider-Man lets him take the pictures of him. You know what I mean? That, like, because he's, like, the only photographer that's allowed to get pictures of him, really. Like, that's the idea, is that Spider-Man is kind of fine with Peter Parker taking the pictures. So, you know, ideally, Peter Parker would maybe have an into, like, kind of being able to meet Spider-Man at some point. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense to me. But in this movie, it's just, like, he instantly, Harry's like, I know you know Spider-Man. And then Peter gives the fucking, actually, not even joking, a brilliant excuse. He just says, Harry, it was a long lens. I took it from a very far away. Why would you think I know Spider-Man? And then Harry's like, fuck you, I know you know Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then
Peter basically just gives in and is like, yeah, I guess I could find Spider-Man.
Yeah, which, like, he's like, why doesn't he just say, like, which he could just say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But which, that leads into the even worse decision in the movie, which we're just gonna jump to because it's so fucking stupid.
You want me to talk about it?
Spider-Man agrees to it, or agrees to meet him at least.
Yeah, Spider-Man agrees to meet Harry.
Why? Why does he do it? Why doesn't he just never meet him? Just go back as Peter Parker and say, hey, I couldn't find Spider-Man. I could not find, I told you, I don't know how to meet him. I cannot find him. And then it's like, okay, your quote-unquote best friend from 10 years ago now hates you. Sure. Then I guess he never really was your friend, huh?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, Spider-Man goes to this motherfucker's house. He breaks into his house. And he tells him no. Personally.
So that Harry can have, like, a very personal gripe against
Yes,
Spider-Man.
and the only reason that this happens is so that there can be conflict. Yet again, there's no conflict in this movie. There's no conflict. They create bullshit in this movie to have conflict.
Did Royer just pop in a second on a work break or something?
Yeah,
some stupid
probably.
shit?
He was probably watching, like, this whole time and then made a joke and left. The girls love self-depreciating pickup lines. No, but it's just like, why does he... Why? Just, it's like, why does he even give in as Peter Parker saying, like, okay, I'll try to find him?
Why does he give in as Spider-Man?
Yeah, but it's just like, why? Yeah, just go back as Peter Parker and say no. Just say that you couldn't find him. It's as simple as that. And then there's no conflict. It sucks. It's so bad.
Also, we need to mention as well, along these lines, that after the first time that Peter and Harry talk about this, they're in the Oscorp building, and Gwen fucking meets him in the elevator, Harry.
Oh yeah, it's just a coincidence so that it can make sense later.
Yeah, there's a lot of coincidental meetups so that, like, things later can make sense.
Yeah, so there's just a scene between Harry and Gwen meeting for just no reason, and it's also just to pad the time of this movie out, even though this movie's really, really long.
Yeah,
this movie also suffers from the problem where it's like, you could probably cut out, if they cut out, like, they could even leave the dumb shit where it's like, you know, Spider-Man going to visit Harry and saying no. They can leave that and remove, like, the montages that take up, like, 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You could probably cut out, like, 45 minutes of this and it would probably be a better film for it.
Royer said this D-bag isn't going to read it, lol. Alright, Royer. Damn girl, are you a toaster? 'Cause I want to take a bath with you. There, you happy?
Yeah.
You happy? You sick monster?
Yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man, dude. Fuck off. But, yeah, Spider-Man goes and says no, which I don't understand. But either way, meanwhile, just because I don't want to talk about fucking Dane Dehaan, he got fired at one point. He gets, like, framed and fired.
Yeah.
From Oscorp. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Then he runs over to Ravencroft to let Jamie Foxx out.
Is that where we're at, basically?
I mean, All we gotta say is like they were torturing.
He comes up with his own name.
There's a stupid evil scientist called Dr. Kafka.
He's German and he's evil.
Like trying to say any of this is Kafka-esque. No, it's not.
It's literally,
It's not that good. I'm sorry, guys. It's
yeah,
not.
literally they're just torturing Electro by giving him more electricity to see how much he can take or whatever. That's like their experiments or whatever.
Yeah, and there's classical music playing in the background.
Yeah, we forgot to discuss, because I didn't want to discuss the montages, but one of them is important, where Peter's making new webs because his webs get destroyed. In the first fight scene with Electro because of the electricity. So he has to create webs that can like withstand electricity because they're made out of like metal technically.
Mm-hmm.
Metal strands.
Warrior said it's Bully McGuire's go-to line. And then Rose was like, oh, like Kafka, question mark, exclamation point.
Yes, like Kafka.
Yep, like Kafka, dude. Isn't that so clever?
Yeah.
My note is just Dr. Kafka, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, there's also just a really weird thing where Peter Parker doesn't understand the basic science of how a battery works.
Even though he was shown to be, like, really smart and handy in the first movie.
Yeah, and it's like they kind of, not that he's, like, stupid in this, but they kind of dumb him down a little bit in this, and it's like, that's fine if you want to make Gwen Stacy the smarter half. I don't fucking give a shit. But, like, he just doesn't like, he has to look up a 1 minute long YouTube video.
Like a children's science YouTube video?
About how batteries work, that if you overcharge a battery, it'll explode. And the only reason we are showing this video is so that, because the reason is that the plot is going to be that they're going to overcharge Electro and he's going to explode like a battery, and that's the only reason that we know this.
And you know what? The only reason they play that stupid Science Kids video is because they can tell the audience that, even though, like, kids in fucking, like, up to, 5th grade know that if you overcharge a battery, it blows up?
Well, I was just thinking, like, I'm a dumb motherfucker. I'm nowhere near Peter Parker smart, and I even know that. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it that they have to... I don't know, it's just they don't have to show us they show us literally the whole minute-long video explaining how a battery works. It's like, what the fuck? Okay.
Monk said German and evil, so creative, guys. No, it's like the Rhino, right? Russian and evil, so creative. No, I know that's his origin, but...
Well, but no, it's not, but like... You can be more clever with it, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, they just make it that he's Russian and evil.
And Rose said, how about a nice cup of all ages appropriate battery acid?
But...
What a sentence.
Yeah, we haven't been talking about it. There's been some scenes between Peter and Gwen where they've been growing closer or whatever. Whole movie's no. It's just I don't want to like dwell because they're not really, because there's like, I don't want to dwell on them at all, really. Yeah. Because they're not super important to the plot.
Oh, we forgot to talk about how Dane Dehaan punches the wall and goes, "You're a fraud, Spider-Man."
Oh yeah, after he says no, yeah, it's really, "You're a fraud, Spider-Man." So fucking awkward. He's a really bad actor. Oh, so I guess he gets fired right after that scene, according to my notes. But yeah. So all right, we haven't talked about it since.
Also, I wanted to say, when we were watching it, right after he says no to Harry, Spider-Man does like a cool ass flip out the window, and I wrote down me doing a cool ass flip out the window when I tell Harry I'm gonna let him die. He does do a cool ass flip out the window. You're right.
But,
I think now is where Peter finds the train.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about it in a while, but this is like the antithesis of the
kind of the climax.
The climax, I guess, of the Richard Parker stuff, where
Rose said that was a Deltarune reference.
Where Peter finds the train that we were discussing earlier.
The Roosevelt.
Yeah. But it's revealed that, to Peter that his dad was framed or whatever.
Mm-hmm. He watches the video on the Zootopia sheep meth train lab.
Yeah, it literally looks like the Breaking Bad Easter egg from Zootopia train. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But the reason that we're bringing this up, because it's really all of this plot stuff with the Richard Parker stuff is so
ruins Spider-Man.
Ruins Spider. It's like no. It's like so pointless, except for this one line of dialogue where it's revealed that Richard Parker used his own DNA to make the spiders that bit Peter Parker, and he also reveals that if anyone were to get bitten by the spiders, it would not have the same effects. So they basically make it that Peter Parker is the only one that can get bitten by the spider, which is the opposite point of a Spider-Man story.
That it's supposed to happen to any random kid.
It's supposed to be that it's not destiny, it's not fate, it's random chance. It could happen to you, it could happen to me, it happened to Peter Parker. It would just, the spider on that day fell onto Peter Parker out of just random chance. You know what I mean? It could have been any kid standing there, and that's supposed to be the point.
Stupid.
But they reveal, and so the idea though is that if someone else were to get bit by the spider, it would work, but it would turn them into a monster basically, just like the lizard. So.
Monk said the friend of Peter was shitty.
Harry? Yeah, Harry is the worst part.
And Rose said the fucking tiger was framed. I swear I thought you were going to say it's revealed that Richard Parker is a tiger.
Yeah.
And then Royer said, so they made a designer baby version of Spider-Man. Yeah, but they designed the baby 20 years after the baby came out.
But yeah, I just want to say fuck you, Mark Webb. Fuck you, whoever wrote this movie. I despise you. No, it's fucking because I'm liking I can get past the villains kind of being fucking stupid and dog shit in this movie. I don't fucking care. I like the action scenes. I'm liking the music. The visuals are really good, but you can't do that. You cannot do that to Spider-Man. It ruins it. You cannot make Spider-Man about destiny. You just can't do it. I don't care what you do to the story to try to make it like, you just can't. I don't fucking care. It's stupid and I hate it. So fuck you, Mark Webb. Well, yeah, I have to move on.
Yeah.
It's not important other than that to me.
I do want to give props in the next scene where Dane Dehaan goes to let Electro out.
Yeah, okay. So he breaks.
Actually, his best acting in the fucking movie.
So okay, I have a case to make about Dane Dehaan.
Yes, what's that?
I don't think he's a terrible actor. I really honestly think he's just in really, really bad roles.
No, I'm not trying to say anything personal about him.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I think he does have, because you're right. I think he's good at playing, a crazy person. Because, the bits in this movie that not when he's Green Goblin, but it's when he's, crazy Harry. That's the good parts,
well,
you know what I mean?
When they're running out of time and he's trying to make a deal with Electro, I will let you out, you just need to help me. And he's I need you. And eventually he's screaming I need you.
Yeah.
It's just wow, this is the best scene with Dane Dehaan.
Yeah, so basically, obviously, Electro, I like the bit is that Dane Dehaan shocks him a little bit with a taser, and that's the last little bit of juice he needed to
get out.
Yeah, he fully becomes energy at that point.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. He can teleport now, and he shoots like a lightning of electricity through everybody's hearts.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And I do like I said, I like Evil Harry because then we get another scene where they go and torture the guy who steals Oscorp from Harry, and I unironically like that scene. I think that scene's kind of fun because it's really fucking evil because I guess we didn't talk about it, but I mentioned that there was a flash drive that Norman gave Harry, and it's revealed that that's supposed to be Special Projects, which is a like an Oscorp place where they make like they have like the Green Goblin suit, they have the Rhino suit that they're making, they have Dr. Octopus arms, a bunch of references and shit, just for later on movies that never are gonna get made.
Yeah.
But no, they go to meet the guy who now like runs Oscorp right now, and they just like torture him in like a really fucked up scene.
Yeah.
But it's like really like, I don't know, I think it's really like clever, because what happens is they show up and they like call their demands, and then instantly he calls some fucking freaks.
Yeah.
And then Electro just shoots him in the heart and he dies. But then he brings him back to life with his electricity, and they fucking like, it's just showing that like they could just continue doing this over and over probably if they wanted to torture him, and it's like that's fucked up, but it's a pretty good scene.
Royer said, "I'll take a tasing for teleporting powers."
I would take a tasing for teleporting powers. Fuck that, yeah.
Also, I want to say, in the scene before, I just want to say how predictable this movie is. In the scene where they're letting Electro, I went, "Oh, is he about to get his super suit?" And Brent went, "Yeah."
Yeah. And well, they don't even show him getting it either. It's just him getting out of the imprisonment, being in boxers, and then the next scene is like that torture scene where he's just in a suit. You know what I mean? It doesn't even show. And you know what? I actually did see the bit where they like found the suit. It's on one random guy in one of the scenes.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at one of the scenes where it's like, I think it was like with Dr. Kafka, one of the guys is wearing that suit.
Okay.
So I think the idea is it's supposed to be that suit.
Okay.
But they never talk about it or whatever. Whatever. It's fucking stupid.
This is also around the part where they both look at each other and like Electra goes, "Oh, I had a friend once. It didn't work out." And then...
which doesn't make sense because, like, I get it. It's like, oh, Jamie Foxx is supposed to be crazy and think that Spider-Man was his friend, but as an audience, you're just like, no.
There was no relationship.
There was nothing. There was not even development between them at all besides one scene, and I know that's the point, but it just seems so fucking lazy.
And then Harry goes, "I had a friend once, too." I'm like, okay, you fucking crybaby, shut up.
Yeah, honey, no is what Rose says, yeah. But I guess we move on to...
Harry gets injected with spider hair.
Oh, yeah, so they go down to the Special Projects where is all these Easter eggs that I was talking about with, like, the Doc Ock suit and whatever. And it was revealed earlier. I guess we didn't talk about this, but we did talk about how all the spiders that bit Spider-Man were eradicated and talked about in this movie
because of the lizard incident. They wanted to get rid of all like the animal projects.
Yeah. But they had saved the venom obviously because they didn't want to get rid of it. No shit.
Yeah, the spider venom.
Because that's where all the powers come from or whatever. But. It basically Harry goes down and slurps up some spider venom, and it's like, it's so weird because, like we were saying, the idea, right, is that in the first movie, Kirk Connors mixes himself with a lizard, right?
Yep.
And then he turns into a lizard.
Yep. Fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yep.
So Dane Dehaan is dying from a goblin disease in this movie.
Yeah.
Right? A rare genetic goblin disease.
Yeah.
And he drinks the venom.
He gets injected with the spider.
Whatever. Who cares? It's in his system now. What would you think would happen to a character if you drank the spider venom in the movie where you know if you drink the venom of the animal you would turn into it? What do you think he would turn into?
Spider?
Yeah?
Yep.
No, he turns into a more advanced version of his diseased self.
Goblin-like?
Yes, his hair molts and turns blonde and slicked back for some reason. He gets lesions all over his fucking neck. He has a weird voice now where he kind of speaks like this. and he has a laugh that let me see if I can replicate it. Ah! That's kind of what it sounds like.
And also,
as a goblin myself, I take offense that my kind is considered a disease. A little bit.
Royer said that sounds dumb as fuck.
No, it is so dumb, because why the fuck does it just, like, it cures his disease, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's no longer sick.
He's no longer dying.
He's no longer dying, but it also progresses his disease, but...
and also it comes and goes.
Yeah, they reveal at the end of the movie, because there's like a post-credit scene at the end, I guess we'll just talk about it now, where he's like in jail, and he just discusses that it comes and goes when he becomes the Goblin, which they're just basically adapting the Willem Dafoe split personality stuff from the other Spider-Man. This movie's so unoriginal that it just takes plot points from Harry Osborne and the Green Goblin in the other movies and, like, cheaply slaps them on to this movie.
Dane Dehaan cannot compete with Willem Dafoe at all.
No one can, though. Like, it's just such an unfair comparison in the first place.
Yeah. And also the scene where he transforms into a goblin, they try to make it like a horror scene.
Yeah, and it looks stupid.
It does look stupid.
It's like a heavy metal fucking horror music video where like flashing lights. There's like one real brief motion, like slow motion bit for some reason. Listen, I don't know why people like Marvel movies for their plots, but this this does really suck. But like we're saying, I think other things like the visuals and
Roger said it's like one of those medications that has worse side effects than the actual.
Yeah, where you watch the ad and it's like listing, it's like a 5-minute ad and 4 minutes is describing the side effects you're gonna have from this fucking medication.
Yeah, it's like 5% chance you will die.
50% chance you will not walk. No, but Rose, this one is considered, like, people do not like this movie though. So don't worry. I'm actually in the minority of actually kind of liking it more after watching it this time.
I really thought it was quite bad.
I love when those ads end with, in some cases, death. Yeah.
I just was like kind of straight down the middle because, like I said, the high points are really high, the low points are really low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of straight in the middle, but I'm more lenient just because I guess nostalgia because I did watch it in the theaters. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you or a loved one have mesothelioma?
I guess the next scene is.
Well, no. We should also discuss that. He gets his Green Goblin suit and glider because he's in the special projects thing.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And he hooks himself into it while he's like transforming into the actual Green Goblin. But I guess we're just at the final fight scene of the movie. Or I guess Gwen.
The bridge scene.
Yeah, the bridge scene with Gwen and Peter.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, so it's just...
Again, when I said the high points are high, it's like scenes like this.
Yeah, so we haven't really been talking about them, but Gwen and Peter obviously have been building up their getting back together or whatever, but it's basically decided that Gwen is going to go to London. She gets the scholarship to Oxford or whatever, and she's going to go to London. And on the taxi ride, Peter, like... goes to the Brooklyn Bridge and he writes out in spiderwebs "I love you," like huge, like on over the whole fucking bridge.
Yeah.
And everybody stops their fucking cars and can see it and everything.
Cute. That like a thing Spider-Man.
No, and it totally is a thing Spider-Man would do. That's why I'm saying like they do a lot better of a job of writing Peter Parker in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But they basically get back together. They in the end they decide that, which a complaint I had is like they were just discussing like, oh, Gwen's like, oh, I can't be with you because I'm going to Rome, and I just looked
London.
or London, whatever. Why did I say Rome?
I don't know.
But yeah, I just looked at a caution and I was like, why can't Spider-Man just go to Rome? But they do decide that.
London.
Fucking goddamn it! Why am I saying Rome?
Why can't Spider-Man just go to Prague? I don't.
London. Spider-Man goes to London. They decide that he's like, yeah, and it's just like he's like the same reasoning I thought. I was like, what? There's crime there too, and he even says that he's like, there's crime there. Why can't I just go there?
Yeah.
And it's like, aw, nice.
It's really sweet because like the line he says is like, I've decided now that I'm just gonna follow you wherever you go. You're my path. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
it is very cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we got some fucking. We have so many comments.
Oh, do we?
Rose is saying that's adorable, and they're talking about mesothelioma still. Rose said that Spider-Man is fuck.
Yeah, they're talking about the commercial still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, so instantly, as soon as they decide this, they see that the power plant, the power to the whole city goes out.
Yeah.
And the power plant is activated or whatever.
And Electro's dumb face on a building taunts Spider-Man.
Yeah, and obviously this is going to be the final encounter where Spider-Man goes to face off against Electro at the power plant.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man have a bit where they argue that she's going to go with him because she's the one who knows how that place works, because she still works at Oscorp from the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the only one that's going to know how it works. And obviously, as we are told from this fucking movie, Spider-Man's kind of fucking stupid for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But Spider-Man webs her hand to
A car trunk?
a car trunk and forces her to stay and goes after Electro himself. There's a bit that everybody likes to complain about that I just want to mention where as he's web zipping away, she screams out Peter.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know it's for a joke, but that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
And she covers her mouth, and it's supposed to be oh, no one heard it,
Yeah.
But it's what the fuck? That's so dumb.
The fight scene, again, they're doing a thing with the fight scene with Electro where they're at the electricity towers and they're doing the dubstep thing with showing the electricity. So on the bassy beats, they're doing light things with the electricity, and it's in theory it's cool, but it's really lame because it's 2014 dubstep. And
True.
Also on the electric towers, he's playing Itsy Bitsy Spider as a dubstep song.
No, he's not. He's just playing it as I don't know.
But it's framed like a dubstep song.
Well, because it's making frequencies with electric noise because he's made of electricity.
I know, but then it goes into an actual dubstep.
No, it does, and there's an actual song from that too. I believe just called Itsy Bitsy Spider, on the soundtrack. I agree. I don't know. People complain about it. I think it is a dumb comic book villain thing some villain would do, so I'm kind of fine with it.
Just think the dubstep theming with Electro makes him so much lamer.
No, it definitely does make him lamer. I agree.
Because they were doing that with the other scene too, is theming the music around the lights of the electricity. And again, it's cool in theory, but it looks and sounds stupid because the songs aren't good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But basically, it's a really good fight scene in the sense of the CGI is really good. The only thing that's wrong with the CG is that you see Electro's face and it just looks really bad just because the design is just so bad. And it's not even shitting on Jamie Foxx because it's it does not even look like Jamie Foxx. I was saying to Akasha, it's he's not, I mean, it's true, he's just not even there. It's all a CG person. You know what I mean?
Rose is right. The only villains that can pull off dubstep are Pillar Men. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to watch JoJo.
Anyway, something stupid where we just have a really cool fight scene where Electro's teleporting all over the place and catching Spider-Man and throwing him around.
And he burps electricity in Spider-Man's
I
face.
think that's really funny though. He screams electricity into his face. I thought that was funny. He doesn't burp, he screams it into his face.
He burps electricity at Spider-Man.
But it's really cool. But then Electro pins down Spider-Man, and then Gwen Stacy shows up because somehow she cut through steel spiderwebs. I don't know how.
Yep, and in the last movie they said that they're used for building planes and shit.
Well, yeah, no, it's just like Spider-Man's, no matter what universe you're in, Spider-Man's webs are supposed to be as strong as steel.
Yep.
Even stronger, because
She cuts
it's...
it with a knife.
And she cuts it with a knife, and it's like, okay,
Yep.
cool. But she shows up, hits Electro with a car, which makes no sense because he can teleport. It's like, okay, yeah, if he got surprised, sure, but you cannot claim that he gets surprised because he sees the car. He like stares at the car as it's coming towards him. And gets hit by it or whatever, and he gets knocked out. And then the whole battery thing comes to a conclusion because they realize that they need to overcharge him like a battery. So Gwen Stacy goes to the control panel, and she has to turn it on whenever she can. And basically, it works, and they overcharge Electro.
Explodes.
Yeah, he explodes. Is there anything else to add to that, really?
No, then we just have the short goblin fight.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about that. So he explodes, and Gwen Stacy runs down to see Spider-Man, and they're like celebrating, and then the Green Goblin shows up, which I think is like a really cool... oh, wait, I wanted to mention something. The second, I know I talked about it earlier with the Captain Stacy visions, but I do like that the second Gwen Stacy shows up.
Captain Stacy? You said Gwen Stacy.
No, the second Gwen Stacy shows up in the cop car.
Oh, okay, sorry.
He envisions Captain Stacy for the first and final time in, like, the movie in a long... Like, because he doesn't do it until they, like... Since the beginning of the movie, after they, like, before they broke up or whatever. Yeah. And now this is the first and final time he's going to see this vision. And it kind of gives me chills because the way this fucking movie ends,
fucked up.
It's fucked up. The Green Goblin shows up after fucking Spider-Man's already been beaten the shit out of.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because Rose is addressing me directly, Rose said, Akashi, you will not be disappointed by the dubstep playing Central American stripper gods. I just wanted to say, I have seen that season, Rose, so I've already seen it, so no worries. It was good.
Stop sidetracking, bro.
Well, she was addressing me directly.
I know, bro.
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
We have after the review, bro. But the Goblin shows up, and Spider-Man's already fucking tired, but he instantly sees Gwen, and then it's the reason the scene where they meet makes sense, because he instantly connects it, being like, oh, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Because Gwen's there.
Yeah.
Which then he's like, oh, so you said no to me, so I'm gonna take everything away from you. So he grabs Gwen with his glider, and then there's just this, like, really sad, like, attempt where, like, Spider-Man's, like, trying to, like, get to him, but he just can't. Like, there's this bit where he's, like, on a building, and he's, like, trying to shoot his webs fast enough at the glider to, like, zip up to it, but he just can't.
Yeah.
And I really like how, like, desperate it seems, because he's really scared.
And they go and fight in the clock tower.
Well, yeah, it's just, I want to, like, emphasize that, like, Andrew Garfield is really acting in this scene, because the whole movie, it's like... This is Peter Parker's fear. You know what I mean? This is the whole reason they broke up in the first place, is because Peter Parker did not want this to happen. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Gwen Stacy shows up, you know, against his request, and now this is happening. So he brings her into the air, and Peter does that stupid thing that every superhero does, where he tells the villain to drop them, and then they do.
Yeah.
And he drops her, and they fall through into a clock tower, which Peter Parker then has to both orchestrate fighting the Green Goblin in a pretty cool fight scene. I like the fight scene. It's very short, but I like it. And keeping Gwen safe, which in the end, he doesn't work, because his line that he's keeping her, like, afloat with, like, above the clock tower is snapping slowly until it finally snaps. He knocks the Green Goblin out and sends himself careening after her. Mm-hmm. How do you even, like, describe this scene? I don't even know.
Well, it's kind of like, it's really weird the way they frame it, is like he kind of already seems like he knows what's gonna happen before it happens.
Well,
Because it's like so slow.
Well, it's just, I want to talk about that. This scene is actually very beautiful because they do this thing where he's like fucking shooting after her like a goddamn rocket, going as fast as he can, and he shoots like a strand after her, and they like show an up close of it, and it's like a hand like desperately grasping for her. It's really sad. And he catches her with the web, but not quick enough, and she lands and snaps her neck and dies. And it's really sad.
Well, is it that she snaps her neck or that her fucking head hits the pavement?
No,
at
she
100 miles
she
per
snaps
hour?
she snaps her neck.
Is that canon? Because her head fucking hits the ground hard.
I don't know. I really don't know if it's either way. She fucking dies.
Her head fucking pounds against the pavement.
I guess it's just like I don't know. Either way, it's just, and then we get this just terrible scene where it's just Peter Parker acknowledging her dying.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was really, Akasha looked at me and she just dies. You looked at me and you were like, he doesn't even get to say anything to her, and I was like, no, she just fucking dies. And it's like, it's really sad. It really, really is, because it's the, I do think the movie does a really good job of being like, this is Peter Parker's number one fear in this movie. This is why, they're not together in this movie. With like the Sam Raimi films, it's like the will they won't they of Mary Jane and Peter Parker's kind of stupid sometimes, and
It's so tedious.
Yeah, you get really annoyed by it. But with this, you're kind of like, wow, it makes a lot of sense,
yeah.
and it comes true. You know what I mean? His fears were correct. He made the wrong choice.
I just want to say, since like it's a really impactful scene, they're saying a lot in the chat. Also, Eclipse just showed up. Hi, Eclipse.
Hi, Eclipse. Yeah, welcome. We're just talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 2. You showed up at the very, very tail end, but
yeah, they're all just saying like it's super sad and angsty. Warrior, of course, being a cock and saying she had it coming. No, you say that, but like I'm sorry, she's way better than like Mary Jane.
No, you're absolutely right. I kind of connect a lot better to, and I think it's just Emma Stone's a better actor than Kirsten Dunst. Not to shit on Kirsten Dunst, but no, I honestly was pretty close to crying. I was pretty choked up with how emotional that scene is, because looking at it like this movie, they do really do a good job of making the relationship seem a lot better. You know what I mean? And realistic and stuff. And one thing I gotta give credit to this movie is I know it's really long, but I do like that there's like, this is the final fight, but there's like an extra 15 minutes to the movie, because the last 15 minutes are just a really beautiful kind of montage of like a year of Peter's life, of him grieving.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add on with her death part real quick before I go on?
Warrior's just shitting on us, saying Kirsten Dunst won an Oscar when she was 9.
I mean, fair enough. I just didn't. I'm just comparing her as MJ versus Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy in this movie, and I would prefer Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. That's all I say.
Yeah,
other than that, I've never seen a Kirsten Dunst performance. So that's all I'm basing it on.
Yeah,
so whatever. I don't really give a shit.
I think the writing is just really
bad for MJ.
Bad for Mary Jane sometimes. And it's like, I don't even dislike her. It's that I dislike both her and Toby in the roles they're in when they're together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Either way. Yeah, we get this really nice... It's really beautifully shot, where it's like this same shot over like a course of what seems like a year of just Peter Parker standing over Gwen Stacy's grave and just mourning. We do get a really nice last scene between Aunt May and Peter, where Aunt May is finally moving on from Uncle Ben, where she's like talking about moving his objects to somewhere else because it's too hard to look at, but it's like supposed to be her version of moving on.
Yeah.
And it gives Peter the sense. And also, during this time, he's quit being Spider-Man completely.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. I mean, I fucking would too. But in the meantime, Dane Dehaan is in prison setting up what was supposed to be the Sinister Six for a third film.
Yeah.
But basically, this film ends, I guess we'll talk about the end scene right now.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is no longer existent, and oh shit, sorry if you heard that. That was me accidentally hitting the microphone.
Rose is freaking out over this being like, fuck yeah, they show him grieving. That's amazing. I love it.
Well, no, it's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of movies, it seems like death is just a thing. And it's not just a thing, you know what I mean? It's a huge part of a lot of people's lives. And I think, I don't know, I think this movie would be a lot less if it did not have the extra stuff at the end. Because it's very impactful because it all kind of...
Oh, bless you.
Oh, did he just sneeze?
Yeah.
It culminates in this end scene where the Rhino has gotten the Rhino suit because they're starting the Sinister Six or whatever, and they're unleashing him as their first like part of their plan or whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter because we're never getting a third. Well, we might. Who never knows? But as of right now, we don't have a third Amazing Spider-Man film. But he's unleashed upon the city, wreaking havoc or whatever. The fucking Rhino suit's terrible. It's like a stupid fucking mech suit with miniguns,
It's like
and
a Rhino Gundam.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
It looks awful.
Paul Giamatti is, I am the Rhino. Fuck it. Fuck off. But the scene other than him is really good because we didn't mention this, but there was a scene earlier in the movie where a little kid's getting bullied. In like a montage where Peter Parker's being Spider-Man, there's just a bit where he saves like a kid from being bullied by other kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And it inspires the kid to be really into Spider-Man, which I feel like would happen to literally any kid if Spider-Man were real. But what happens in this final scene is this kid's wearing like a spider suit, and he runs out to confront the Rhino himself, believing in the hope of Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Believing that him doing that will do something.
Yeah.
But, you know, he stands there and the Rhino makes fun of him, but then the real Spider-Man shows up. And it is really a great scene.
It is so good.
Like, I just wish Paul Giamatti wasn't in the fucking scene because he's so bad.
All the scenes where this Spider-Man is interacting with kids, you're like, he is.
Amazing. That's this like series version of like, you know how like I said in the Sam Raimi trilogy, it's like those movies have the New Yorkers come to save Spider-Man, and that's kind of those movies like saving grace moments.
Yeah.
With these, it's Spider-Man saving kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, well, like, think of it this way, you know what I mean? It's like, who is the biggest, who would be inspired the most by Spider-Man? Little kids, of course.
Yeah.
It writes itself, but it's just, I think those are also the scenes where Andrew Garfield is just acting the best in.
It's just so sweet when it's like, you hear behind the kid, you hear, hey, Spider-Man.
Yeah, he just
tells the kid Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, he was just saying,
yeah,
he's really brave.
Yeah, no, he just says, like, thank you for taking over. Like, it treats him like he is Spider-Man, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, I may be 20 years old, but I can still look at myself through a kid's lens, and I can definitely be like, for me, if I, like, as a kid, that, like I said with, like, the bit in Spider-Man 2, where the kids hand him his mask, this movie's equivalent to that. I'd say that this scene is honestly that good.
It's a really lovely scene to end off on.
But yeah, it just ends with Spider-Man throwing a fucking sewer grate at the Rhino, and then the movie ends because there was supposed to be a third one that never happened.
Yeah. And then before we get on to our final thoughts, I just wanted to read some stuff in the chat.
Okay.
A clip said, in the unreleased The Amazing Spider-Man 3, MJ was supposed to be introduced
Yeah,
to the support club thing that Peter goes to.
Yeah, well, I actually want to discuss later. I want to discuss that after the review, like the Spider-Man 3 stuff that was supposed to happen.
And then Rose was guffawing over a Rhino Gundam. It does sound fucking ridiculous. A clip said that kid scene is one of my favorites, as it should be.
As it should be. It's really, really good.
And I just wanted to say, because Royer said Paul Giamatti is an awesome actor.
No.
You're right.
No, you missed it when we were referencing it earlier. I said Paul Giamatti is one of the greatest actors who have ever graced the screens. I said that he is a really good actor, but he is so abysmal in this.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, why is he so bad? I don't know. I don't know why he's so bad. I think maybe he was drunk. I don't know. I don't fucking know what was going on. He's just like if he was in the movie more, I would say he'd be the worst part. But thankfully, he's only in the opening and end scene of the movie.
Yeah. And then Royer also said, Spider-Man taught me no matter what, you can score a hot redhead.
Yeah, but I guess let's go on to, I wanted to talk about, before we go to our thoughts,
This is your domain.
Spider-Man 3. Yeah, MJ was supposed to be part of it, played by Shailene Woodley. I think she was supposed to be actually introduced in this movie as like a brief cameo or whatever, and then like a more developed character as a love interest in the third one. Obviously, the third one was trying to set up some Sinister Six kind of plot with Vulture, Doc Ock, and Rhino, and probably the Green Goblin as confirmed members.
Yeah.
Because they show the Vulture, Doc Ock suits, as well as obviously the Rhino or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the Andrew Garfield, what he wanted for the love interest for the third one? Because you know a little bit more about that than I do.
Yeah, so what I gather from these recent interviews that he was giving was that, so there was the romance with Gwen Stacy.
That obviously ends.
Yeah, that ends. And then Andrew Garfield, in real life, is bisexual.
Wait, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, and he thought that it would be a cool idea to make, like, another Spider-Man love interest who was male. And he was saying that, like, they made him feel really uncomfortable and, like, you know, pressured him to, like, hush up about that and say, like, that was a dumb idea. And I just feel so bad.
Well, and it's like, I know, but
uncomfortable.
the problem I feel with it is, like, if it had happened, like, I feel like he would have gotten such shit for it, though. And that's the terrible part about it, is it's like, who fucking cares? Peter Parker, I don't care who he fucks. He's Spider-Man at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just went there was that bit too.
Rose said, fuck yeah, Biter-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right, Rose. At that time, just like with how, you know, they were making like these huge corporate movies and stuff, they would never let that
Well,
slide.
I mean, just think about they literally in 2021 just announced not even Superman, his son is bisexual and people are angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even original Clark Kent it's not, you know what I mean? It's like, it makes no fucking sense. Just people need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Seriously, fuck you if you care. Fuck you. Yeah, but what's your score, your final thoughts on Spider-Man 2? I want to just say, I'll let you take it from here, but I just want to say I think it's better than the first one.
I had something I wanted to say though in response to what Eclipse was saying earlier.
Oh, okay.
I found the going to support group thing and meeting MJ there like a really interesting thing, because that is like the beginning of The Fault in Our Stars, and the person who would have played MJ would have been Shailene Woodley.
Yeah, it probably would have been a stolen idea, just like half of the ideas in this are stolen from the original Spider-Man films.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, Rose said, bro, we have Afro-Latino Spider-Man and a Spider-Pig. And Royer said, don't forget about Italian Spider-Man.
The worst Spider-Man of them all. Oh, God, fuck Italian Spider-Man.
And Eclipse sent you in the Discord deleted scenes of Peter and his dad talking.
Oh, yes. Holy shit. That was like one of the big points I wanted to talk about. Fuck.
Yeah, thank you,
Oh my
Eclipse.
God, Eclipse. Yes, I already knew about this. I will watch the clips because I haven't watched them, and I'll show them to Akasha because she hasn't seen them. But this movie was actually supposed to have payoff for the fucking Richard Parker stuff, which they shouldn't have cut out of the movie. I don't care if there wasn't going to be a third one. I don't give a shit. They should have just had it in there anyway, because it would have actually made sense. So at the end of the movie, there would have been a scene where Peter Parker is standing at Gwen Stacy's grave, and it would have been revealed that his father was actually alive, and he shows up to talk to him. and there's like a whole scene where they talk together, and it's like, it's really good because Andrew Garfield's actually acting really well. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, how the fuck are you alive? You know, and it's supposed to be this lead up. It should have been in the movie. Whatever. I think, I don't know. It's stupid. It's really weird too. It's just like, cause like we know that the third one was just gonna get canceled for the making of the new Spider-Man series or whatever. So it's like, whatever. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
You sound so defeated.
I do, because I don't know. It's just, I think it's stupid how many times we've rebooted the Spider-Man franchise. I really do.
Yeah. But, Fro said Garfield is now my favorite Spider-Man because of Biter-Man. And Royer said my dream three-way in a hot tub, me, Biter-Man, Toaster.
Hey, that's a good three-way.
But no, I don't know. It's just like, I really do understand in this instance why they scrapped these movies, because they really are not good.
No, but they were gonna make the third movie. The only reason it was scrapped is because the Marvel buyout happened.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm kind of, like, not too offended by that, because these aren't good.
No, I know, I get you. Yeah, completely fine. I just think, I'm
just a shame the Raimi ones got canceled.
Well, no, I think it is that too, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's just stupid how many times, like the fact, like, we've been making a joke, like, we've already reviewed Spider-Man 2. This is a Spider-Man 2 review, and we're going to review Spider-Man 2.
And eventually, we're going to review fucking 4 Spider-Man 2s.
Yeah, because Spider-Verse 2 is going to happen. You're right, exactly. Spider-Verse 2 Part 1!
Yes.
Which, go watch the fucking trailer. It looks fucking epic. It dropped yesterday. What the fuck are you doing? Go watch it, now! The review's over. What do you want to give it, Akasha?
Like a 5.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah.
My favorite things about the Marvel ones are all of Spidey's friends. The side characters are awesome. Spidey's friends are cool. Rory also gives it a 5. Yeah.
And Eclipse said, "Have you talked about the suit yet?" Definitely
yes.
My favorite after the Raimi
Yes.
suit.
Yeah. That's what we were saying. That I definitely think it's a huge improvement. Like 100%. I love it. I personally think it's actually really, really good.
Yeah.
5, but 5.5 because of Biter-Man. It honestly, like, it kind of does improve it when you realize, like, Andrew Garfield was fighting for stuff like that behind the scenes. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Eclipse says he'd also give it a 6. Yeah, so it seems like we're all kind of in agreement here on roughly giving it around that, you know what I mean?
And Eclipse said, wait, Spider-Verse 2 Part 1? Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
There's 2 parts to this
that's
movie.
what we fucking said.
Yep.
And it's gonna be awesome.
It's true, dude.
Go watch the fucking trailer now. But I guess anything outside of the review that you want to talk about?
No.
There was that Spider-Man review or Spider-Man trailer that you should go watch. New season of fucking Fortnite dropped, so Akash and I are definitely gonna be playing that.
Yeah. We're losers.
we are fucking losers. I want a fucking Peter Parker Miles Morales moment. Yeah, that would be. Well, I mean, you get it in Spider-Verse. Have you seen Spider-Verse? You get a lot of them, and
there's no way Rose hasn't seen Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
right.
I guess just are you saying like a live action Peter Parker Miles Morales? That would be cool. That would be very, very cool. It would just be cool to get a live action Miles Morales, honestly. Because I was just saying to Akasha that we just all kind of forgot that the Marvel movies have kind of already made it that Childish Gambino is confirmed going to be the Prowler whenever they do decide to make a.
Yeah, which is nuts.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
But like a same age romantic moment because
Whoa.
Spider-Man. Oh.
Been done.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow, Rose is getting crazy.
You mean like a romantic moment between the two of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the alternate Gwen Stacy, but instead with Miles Morales.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. You could totally do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to see that. It's just the thing is, it's like, who the fuck cares? As long like it's Spider-Man, he's still gonna kick the Green Goblin's ass, whether he's sucking dick or whatever. Who cares? No Way Home has all 3 Spider-Men with a heavy sex scene. Lol. Oh, good God, what have I created?
I was gonna say though, my last comment on these 2 movies it's a real shame I watched this movie and I was like, there's a glimmer of like a really, really good movie in here, and it's just not there.
It could have been so good. Yeah. I think it could have been so fucking good. I can't stop laughing. Well, that's good.
I think that's the end, though.
Yeah, I might be back later on tonight, maybe playing something. I don't fucking know. Who knows? I obviously will let you guys know. I hope that you all enjoyed this review. I certainly did. It was very, very fun.
Yeah. But we better turn this game off before it explodes.
Yeah, I'm surprised, honestly. I was, like, fearful it was gonna crash, like, this whole time.
This game always fucking crashes, like, an hour and a half in.
Yeah, but either way, we will be coming at you with Tom Holland Spider-Man movie reviews very, very soon. We have to do them very quickly because we have to see Spider-Man 3 in 10 days, and we have those movies and Spider-Verse to review.
Yep, a day early, folks.
A day early, so we're going to be able to review it super early. Yep. So, yeah. But, let's see. Can we raid anyone? Is anyone even live? Chugs is live. Let's raid Chugs. Why not? Woo! Yeah, so I hope that you guys enjoy that, and like I said, if I'm on later, I will be sure to tell you guys. But other than that, bye-bye.